quick confession for you before we begin this. This is 4 months old. Awfully sorry about that. We got sidetracked. But we're back on track. Doesn't matter though. This video is an analysis, as it were. And it's also, oddly, strangely, I think I have psychic powers. Because there are elements of this video that at the time we were just assuming that this was the case because it just really looked like that. And then in the court case that we're about to be discussing, it came out that not only was it true, it was very deliberate, such as Crikey, the publication that we're about to introduce to an international audience, and let's be honest, a national audience, as no one knows who they are. They were using a defamation case as a subscription drive. Emails of the apparatchik talking to each other about how they can use it for their own financial gain. So, it's still relevant, even though the case was just dropped. Come on, Lachlan, you pussy, start it up again. No, like he's you know, like it was right to drop it. Good on you. So anyway, here's the video. I hope that you enjoy it. I think you will enjoy it. And gotta say, it's probably a pretty good reason as to why you should sign up to Patreon, because sometimes you see videos 4 months in advance. None of this next Friday's video shit. We're talking about next solstice's video. Have a squiz. Murdoch v Crikey, Clash of the Titans is on, and the more Independent Australia points out what an absolute scam Crikey is, the better. First off with their, ooh, you were reading this? Too bad. What's behind this paywall of mystery? And, oh, it's basically just Fairfax articles written by people who used to work for Fairfax and now work for another paper that's owned by Fairfax.
Only $200 a year.
They're the Danos Directive newspapers. Order this ShamWow online and, oh, it's just a rag.
Keep paying monthly installments.
But also, sorry, I've got to chuck the intro in somewhere, so we'll just put it here. Anyway, now that pesky intro's out of the way, would you like to watch the rest of the video? Because if this was a Crikey article, it'd be, oh God, it's happening again. Hi, were you watching this? If you'd like to watch more, please let us hold truth to power by giving us... it's all so slimy, isn't it? They're marketing around being sued by Lachlan Murdoch with their, oh, this is such a David and Goliath battle. Who's gonna win, Murdoch's son or Fairfax's son? Off. This defamation suit is exactly how Cam Wilson from Crikey explained my defo case. Quote, thanks to a very healthy income and the willingness of his fans to chip in to help out, the little guy in this legal fight may be surprisingly well funded. Oh, hang on, Cam. That's surprisingly well explained for once. If you take out my name and replace it with your company's logo, it's just one word away from describing something that is actually happening in the real world for once. Good job, Cam. Keep up these near misses and you might not get fired from a media organisation that you work for once. Crikey's case isn't David versus Goliath. It's Shaquille O'Neal versus Goliath, and Shaq saying, I'm Davey. The difference is nowhere near as big as you think it is, especially when, look at Goliath. I've never noticed it before. He's not a giant. He's just a tall man. Yeah, I'm treating that as a photo record of how it actually happened. Can you prove it didn't? As Independent Australia points out, John Fairfax owns around 30% of the world's lamest blog. I always thought this was just a Fairfax pasture land, but it turns out, no, it's further than that. It's a Fairfax paper with a much more annoying font. What value? God knows how much John's worth. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a billionaire. He got $193 million from a single deal. Their pick-a-card, any-card CEO, Eric Beecher, was involved in some bullshit media company that was sold to Fairfax for, get ready for this, do you know what it was called? Its name was Text. Who has ever heard of Text? I bet it was him just writing into text edit. This is a newspaper. Oh my God, it is? Is $65 million enough? Ooh, just $65 million. Oz Lotto's lucky to scrape past 30. Kind of happy about the sale though. It does show how utterly worthless Pedestrian is when you've heard of them. They sold for $50 million. How good is it to know that just by hearing Pedestrian's name, it deflates its value by $15 million? And just between these two though, we're probably already in the hundreds of millions, let alone Cameron O'Reilly, who's another major shareholder who comes from another media tycoon family. So Beecher, no wonder he's being such a little beach about the Independent Australia articles. If I was hanging around heirs to paper thrones, I'd feel like a POV too. At the time of recording this, these rich turds have tricked the public into paying $500,000 for their publicity stunt. That's all this court case is. a publicity stunt. Yet professional bout of thrush Cam Wilson can't get rid of me, can ya? Trying to analyse me like I think like him and his shit company and that I see everything through a chat profit motive, but what's particularly scummy about that outburst of sanctimoniousness is, as soon as they were sent a letter by Murdoch, Crikey thought, oh no, money's involved, immediately took the article down. This principled blog that never shuts up about how much it cares about free speech until they're told to shut up about free speech, and like an elf in Harry Potter switching owners, Deathmaster. Then it obviously got around to the ghouls at the top and they realised, hang on, money's involved. And then did what they do best. Bullshit. They started painting Crikey as this fledgling paper being sued by a media tycoon that is one weight division above them. Murdoch flicks a booger at them in the weigh-in and they're saying f***ing weight. Now all of a sudden, yet again, Crikey's back to believing in free speech. When they can freeload. When they can offload most of the legal costs onto you and use that very misplaced public goodwill, all of a sudden, genuine free speech warriors. Well, Crikey and your parent company private media, how dare you sully the label used to describe Milo Yiannopoulos? Shame. But that's not even the most detestable part of this scam. They then use those well-meaning folks' details as a subscription drive. Jesus. Were they the ones that breached Optus? You know, in the last video I sent them $20 as a joke. You know what they sent me as their GoFundMe message? Every other GoFundMe I've ever written to, it's always something like, oh, thanks so much for your money. Now I can rebuild my house after the bushfires, or now I can afford to give my dog surgery, and yeah, I'll get that squirt video for you on Monday. And, oh, wait, sorry, actually, that wasn't GoFundMe. You know what they sent me? Listen to how corporate this is. With nearly 5,000 supporters like you and our dedicated Crikey members, we can hold power to account. I hate how they say that. That's my catchphrase. But also, it's so obvious that that's a little branding that, oh, we hold power to account. It's just that the powerful don't know because it's behind a paywall that all people read. They never have any examples of them holding the powerful to account. It's like they're Scientology, but no one cool believes in it. If you're not already a member and you want to see firsthand what we do day to day, it's a good idea to subscribe. You cockroaches. Them and your subscription model, those are the only things that'll survive the nuclear holocaust. You'll not only get our journalism delivered to your inbox, you don't. I subscribe to Crikey so you don't have to. You get utter shit. Even your email thinks, Jordan, this email from Crikey is spam, right? Like, it's as low quality as the WebJet emails you don't read. You want me to put this in the trash, don't you? Yes, I do. Thank you very much, Yahoo Mail. You're the true underdog. Please don't leave me for Gmail. Don't worry, I won't. Your unsuccessful stint with Sunrise 15 years ago worked on me. Your contribution will help our journalists dig deeper as this drama unfolds. Right. At the time of this recording, since then, they've done some statements from their CEO that are pre-approved by their lawyers. That's them digging deeper. You and the fictional team in the core, eh? Whoa, don't go too far, guys. You'll fall out the other side of the earth, and then you'd actually be writing articles based on the hemisphere that you actually live in instead of pretending you influence US politics, which is even more of a stretch than the science in the core. So actually, yeah, now that I think about it, Crikey, keep digging. Once again, thank you for caring about freedom of speech and a free press. I'll shut the up, you panhandlers. Third world dictatorships believe in free press more than you because theirs is actually free. That's all this is to them. A big subscription drive thought up by people who have no problem at all selling snake oil for tens of millions of dollars, and yet this pathetic hag that used to work for them wrote about me. Like many of these types who pretend they're outsiders while they cynically manipulate a disenfranchised public, it works. And that's at least partly because of this post-truth environment where people pick sides and stick and suck up alternative facts. Hang on, wait, is that the right paragraph? That can't be about me. You're saying that about a guy that donated $100,000 of his own money to special extinction charities before he even had a single asset to his name. Oh, hang on, sorry, this car, while your outfit of intellectual prostitutes are raising money to deliberately get sued for publicity, and yet you have the nerve to say about our operation, quote, that it's highfalutin hypocrisy. Hey, Tori, how about a follow-up article, eh? Just like the rest of the Crikey journos, this withered moron won't, and how could you expect her to when she has the severely misplaced narcissism to think, yeah, I can sit on the Walkley board, I know what's good journalism, lead by example. It's an incredible feat. You've made the Walkleys even more of a farce than they originally were just by plonking your sagging ass onto one of those chairs. And this was an award that was named after a fossil fuel baron. If this is your view of a guy that doesn't have tens or hundreds of millions of dollars at his disposal, disposal, what do you think about your former company's unbelievably scummy, quote, cynical manipulation, where some of the richest men in the country are crying that they need help and they don't have any money, while they go off and spend money on full-page ads in the New York Times about how they don't have any money? That spending spree they went off on in their ad blitz doesn't even include all the free PR they got from their mates in the most self-indulgent PR department on earth, otherwise known as the Australian press. We certainly didn't have our fundraiser plugged using a publicly funded broadcaster.
Others believe Crikey will raise millions in crowdfunding from those who hate the Murdoch media. It's already been promised more than $300,000, and it could emerge a winner even if it loses the case.
In fact, we got that leather couch that was spruiking their fund doing the exact opposite with ours using their articles, saying, if anything, that we had too much money. Us. Again, the guy that drives this car. Loaded. Everyone's always so condescending about a current affair plugging Coles, me especially, but what is the difference between them and Media Watch? I'll tell you what the difference is. Tracy Grimshaw isn't using our money to do it, nor does Tracy Grimshaw own f***ing Coles. Paul Barry does. He has shares in Crikey, and yet he gets to keep the halo around his withered head. You should have seen the amount of comments we copped when we compared the obvious, massive, unapologetic favouritism Paul Barry gives his mates as opposed to anyone outside of his clique of Melbourne knobs, because people have it so ingrained in their heads that I keep an eye on the mainstream media. Where? The mainstream media. What? Go check out the comparison. Links in the description. It's right there. It's night and day. And yet I'm the one getting the whole, oh, Geordie's deliberately left out that Paul Barry declared that he has shares in Crikey, so it's actually Geordie's that's being dishonest here. Media watch. Are you joking? It's fine because before he shills the company he owns, he said, the following is a paid presentation. That makes the contrast between me getting sued and Crikey getting sued, doing the whole Danos Direct thing of this one to pan sends wash right off, while this panhandler, he's got such a dirty mouth. If him declaring his interests in a single sentence before continuing on with an unabrazen infomercial on a public broadcaster is fine, how do you justify the multiple times Paul Barry didn't? Just chucked up one of Crikey's articles using our dime. Why, here's a reputable, promising, edgy, and might I just say, good value for money if you sign up over the next 48 hours, source of information. Get reading, kiddies, it's cool again. You know, that was the first time I'd actually heard of his former employment there, or his small amount of shares riding, and how cool is this? It's actually turning into Media Watch, isn't it? Look at what Paul Barry tweets. And also, FYI, my shareholding has always been declared on the Media Watch website. Paul Barry then linked to the ABC's website. Whoops. See, I told you, how Media Watch is that? He made a mistake. Media Watch. So let's get this straight. His declaration that he owns shares is on a website no one checks. Okay, same excuse Optus made after the data breach. Yes, I'm sure every last individual of your television audience looks at the website of Media Watch, when apparently you don't even know where to find it, Paul. Think about how far the ABC is away from what you think it is. On the channel that is so self-hypnotized that they've actually convinced themselves that they're providing a valuable public service, they're using the most self-proclaimed, beyond reproach show they have as a vessel to push a company's slimy marketing strategy that is designed from woe to go to get you to pay for that very marketing strategy, and yet it dares call itself Media Watch. That has got to be the only ironic thing I've ever heard that isn't remotely amusing. Using a taxpayer-funded show called Media Watch to shill a media company that the host owns shares in. Paul, pack it up. Rebrand. Call your show what it actually is. Sales funnel. Just to show you what an absolute parallel universe these offcuts of the upper crust live in, you know what Paul Barry thinks is a small amount of shares? Brace yourselves. It's honestly like rocking up at the polo club and one of the players asking, oh, you don't have your own horse? He thinks a small amount of shares, small, is having $152,000 worth of shares. Okay, so what, more than double the average Australian earns in a year in one investment? How quaint. As Independent Australia pointed out, if that share price maintained its value, when you count for inflation, that's $200,000 in today's money. You know, that minuscule amount of money that could buy you a fucking Aston Martin. That's odd. That's the exact amount of money Paul claimed Friendly Geordies made based on arbitrary guesswork that was worse than what you find on celebritynetworth.com. In fact, Cam Wilson did use one of those sites as one of his only sources, which just goes to show you the quality of work you're paying for when you sign up to Crikey, that Paul Barry is more than happy to pop up on screen and pretend it's reputable because I know this guy. He must be right.
Media Watch.
God, I wish Paul Barry actually deserved his reputation as the voracious fact checker that he is. I really do. I would love it if we made as much money as he said that we do. We already double the amount of content that Media Watch puts out all year round on what would have to be a fraction of the staff. Every cent of your Patreon money and more, thank you very much for donating, goes to staff salaries. In fact, it goes to paying Paul's staffing tax. Sign up today. The difference being the people that pay for our product actually want it. I most certainly don't want Paul's. I don't want to pay for more of his checkered shirts, thank you very much. And yet that's raking it in when it all goes to staff wages, but when it goes to just one of his investments, just one, it's it's so tiny, it's microscopic, I can't even see it. Because, FYI, I accepted these shares in private media in lieu of 18 months salary. They were worth $150,000 at the time, they are now worth less than $30,000. Not $200,000 as you suggest. There's also no market for them, so they can't be sold. Right, so let me get this straight. The reason it's very small is because it's a shit investment. Well, if that's the case, then I know a lot of Bitcoin investors that now have very small investments in Bitcoin. Feel sorry for him, Australia. Who'd have guessed that someone who leeches off the taxpayer for a living is bad with money? You opted for shares in private media, 150k worth. That's your problem. Just because they depreciated in value as shock horror, a company made up of talentless nobodies whinging is not seen by most as a promising business venture. I would have opted for the 150k in cash easy. I would have bought that Aston Martin. It would have depreciated less in value. They're worth less than in 2012, essentially because Crikey's been losing money, which is Dave from Independent Australia pointed out. But Paul, Crikey just had significant new investors in the last few years, established an investigative unit in the last few years, and put on a number of new staff in a hail of publicity. Not exactly the actions of a publication in a steep decline. Paul Barry didn't respond. I'll leave that up to you to make of it what you will. Yes! Paul Barry just got Paul Barried, declined to comment. Oh! When you've been in this gig for a while, you start feeling like a music composer. The best parts of a song are the silence between the notes. You're starting to connect the dots here? Is it starting to make sense how the entire press thought that the defamation laws in this country were fine when they were out to punish me? But now when you can float your shit investment, Paul, all of a sudden, they're a tool used to silence the powerless. And by powerless, you mean your mates that are even richer than you, that are in a legal struggle that is like the wars in 1984, completely staged, meaningless, and used to waste the surplus of the proles. Because why the is Crikey even talking about the Capital Riots to begin with? Shut up and listen and I'll tell you. It's for the same reason we did. It's because it is the boomer version of clout chasing, where you just need to pump something out that day and, oh yeah, that's happening, that'll get clicks, f it. That's the quality of journalism you're paying hundreds of dollars a year for. Our service that we give for free of, oh yeah, not much is happening that day, just a hump video. Capital, where's that?
Capital Hill to die on.
As an Australian publication. Same publication that tried to frame our defo case as purely for the views, yeah, because as everyone knows, the easiest clout train to catch of all time is talking about a deputy premier in New South Wales no one's ever heard of. Clickbait alert, you pooheads talked about Washington, centre of the universe, claiming
Foxnet helped create the conditions for the January 6th insurrection in the United States, and it's important to say it.
Oh, thanks for your insights there, Bernard, but nothing you say is important. Least of all that. You know why we pushed on with this story that no one cared about? Because it was relevant to the country we live in. Unlike these self-loathing drunkards, we actually like Australia. Whereas the people that read Crikey, they're the whole, oh, everyone in Australia's racist crowd. Well then, f*** off back to America then! Come on, you mentally live there anyway. Look at what Bernard says, talking tough.
Well, I'd write an even stronger story today about Murdoch, Fox, and Trump.
I've seen you present a camera, Bernard, you pussy. Don't act like you have a shred of bravery in you. I'm a lion that needs some courage. Courage, I tells ya, is that your higher-up said to you, no, let's get you. After all, it's Australia's shout. If they told you to keep the article down and to apologise, you know what that headline would have been? It would have been him writing,
Why, I think I've suffered enough, Mr. Murdoch, and oh no, I shut myself.
This is their star writer that no one's still fucking ever heard of, doing what everyone else does at Crikey, past branding off as journalism because journalism is their brand. It really is astonishing how much they use the phrase, "We're holding the powerful to account." It's not a fact, it's a chant. Look at what this US weeb thinks are all his accomplishments in life.
I wrote a book.
Oh, I'm sure it's as riveting as your articles, Bernard.
Trump and Boris Johnson and oh no, that's right, I live in Australia. Scott Morrison, why not? They all happened because of neoliberalism.
You see, branding. Neoliberalism is what that brand of person uses for everything that they don't like. It's like your uncle that votes for United Australia writing in Facebook posts.
Everything I don't like is socialism.
Let's stay on track here. Sorry, Bernard. What else elected the former president of the United States that has been out for 3 years? I'm sure it's equally as vague as neoliberalism.
Global financial crisis.
Yes, that was very neoliberal, wasn't it, Bernard?
Inequality.
Whoa, getting warmer.
Endless wars.
Oh, he's such a good guy, guys. He hates war. You want to chuck in the 2004 tsunami while you're at it, Bernard? It would at least be different. It is the same, overdone, overused, nothing analysis you've heard a million times, and yet he's expecting you to pay for it, including, where is it? We're all waiting for it. Straight white men. There it is. Go, Bernard. We could all see the self-loathing on your face. We were just waiting for the confirmation of what a perfect list of what nebulous themes to expect in Crikey, tailoring to a very certain demographic. Just like how Mercedes always uses words like elegant, powerful, sleek design to attract businessmen past their prime, Crikey writes endless articles using words like
Independent, holding powerful to account, white men.
or to attract their core demo of men who look exactly like Adam Band who think, yes, I'm a piece of shit, aren't I? And acknowledging it makes me better than everyone. If you want some more overdone, overused, nothing analysis, here's some for free. I reckon annoying elitist c***s like Bernard also contributed to Trump's victory. What you're paying for when you sign up to Crikey is exactly what you're paying for with their GoFundMe. The feeling that your worldview is being satiated when all that's happening is you're making a company that is made up of media barons richer. If you want to pay for actual independent journalism, you shouldn't believe the claims coming from a company whose parent company is called Private Media. You should take your $200 a year out of Crikey, pocket half of it. It's that much of a rip-off. Make sure you give the other half to Independent Australia, though, who not only give out their product for free, but the product is good. It focuses on things that actually impact the country you live in, and it publishes important information that affects the public instead of paying the salary of the only man on earth who has more wrinkles than Paul Barry, larping that he works for the New York Times. Anyway, f*** you, Crikey. Good luck with the lawsuit. I hope you win. Make sure you like and subscribe. Oh, hey, what do you know? I also predicted that correctly. They did win. Fuck you, Crikey. And yes, before I get the usual proceeds of 100 snarky comments saying Media Watch covered it again, I know, and I will be Media Watch watching them, so you watch. Alright? I haven't done the video yet, but I will. We'll see you in August.